This is not what people think of when they think of a college professor, right? I showed my friends this photo. This is my high school senior pictures on the top, and then my professional photos on the bottom. And I just sent it to them making fun of myself. And they said, oh, this is so you, though. The country bumpkin background and then the doctor now.
Felt like there were unwritten rules of how I was supposed to act in the academy. I'm very blunt. I'm very direct. I think everything should be funny when possible. I show my expressions a lot. I talk with my hands. These are all very normal things in my small little blue-collar rural town in North Florida. But even in the same state, down in South Florida, but in the academy, they were like, who is this woman? Why is she so loud? And why does she know how to speak professionally? And I was like, what does professional mean?
And cultures have subcultures. And this is where it starts to get tricky. The issues we run into is when the overall organizational culture conflicts with a subculture in the organization. And that's what we call a cultural mismatch. And this can also happen. You can have subcultures in the organization because we all bring our subcultures into the room. I bring the honky tonk, okay? But somebody else might bring something different. And when it's a conflict, like when I talked about in my keynote, that's how I got into unwritten rules. But these conflicts can get more serious. And when you have cultural mismatches like that in an organization, that's when you have a lot of turnover. That's when you have even some bullying. That's where you can have people don't feel like they belong. Lower job satisfaction is almost always correlated with lower performance. So it's a good thing that we have an overall culture that is aware of what the subcultures are and makes room for them. That we're not trying to fit people into a system. That we're trying to make a system that embraces what we have and who we are. So I did the only thing that I knew how to do, which was run another study. And this time I interviewed Black and white, women and men. Low income to higher income again. But I asked them, as you moved up, were there any unwritten rules for you? And if so, what were they? And every single one of them in all of those groups said yes. I felt very validated. I was like, I knew something was going on here. But then I was presented with, if there are rules that other people know that I do not, there are likely some rules that I know that other people don't as well. Because it seems like we don't have a rule pool around here where everybody's dipping in and out. And I thought I'd be quite the hypocrite if I ran a study like this and I didn't keep this in mind as I was leading and managing teams. And I was really challenged in this almost immediately. And at first, I didn't understand what the big deal was because I was like, everything they're complaining about just seemed normal to me. But I knew I'd been wrong before. So, shut my mouth and did more listening. And I went to these trainings and had some ideas, and I was like, oh, I bet I could do this. But then I was hit with my third fear, which was the fear of being replaced. So I really want to rock the boat. If I come in and I'm like, hey, we should change some things, that hasn't gone well for me. And so I had to decide, do I want to be a leader who leads out of fear? Or do I want to be one that insists we make some more room at this table?